think you can go into this another sutta. Sutta 52. Atthakanagara Sutta, the man from Atthakanagara. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Venerable Ananda was living at Beluva Gamaka near Vesali. On that occasion, the householder Dasama of Atthakanagara had arrived at Pataliputta for some business or other. Then he went to a certain monk at Kukuta's park, and after paying homage to him, he sat down at one side and asked him, "Where does the Venerable Ananda now live, Venerable Sir? I wish to see the Venerable Ananda." And the reply was, "The Venerable Ananda is living at Beluva Gamaka near Vesali, householder." When the householder Dasama had completed his business at Pataliputta, he went to the Venerable Ananda at Beluva Gamaka near Vesali. After paying homage to him, he sat down at one side and asked, "Venerable Ananda, has any one thing been proclaimed by the Blessed One who knows and sees, Arahant Sammasambuddha, wherein if a monk abides diligent, ardent and resolute, his unliberated mind comes to be liberated, his undestroyed taints come to be destroyed, and he attains a supreme security from bondage that he had not attained before?" And Venerable Ananda said, "Yes, householder, one such thing has been proclaimed by the Blessed One." "What is that one thing, Venerable Ananda?" "Here, householder, quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, a monk enters upon and abides in the first jhana, which is accompanied by applied and sustained thought, with delight and pleasure born of seclusion. He considers this and understands it thus. This first jhana is conditioned and volitionally produced, but whatever is conditioned and volitionally produced is impermanent, subject to cessation. Standing upon that, he attains the destruction of the taints. But if he does not attain the destruction of the taints, then because of that desire for the Dhamma, that delight in the Dhamma, with the destruction of the 5 lower fetters, he becomes one due to reappear spontaneously in the pure abodes, Sudavasa, and there attain final Nibbana without ever returning from that world. This is one thing proclaimed by the Blessed One, who knows and sees, Arahant Sammasambuddha, wherein if a monk abides diligent, ardent and resolute, his unliberated mind comes to be liberated, his undestroyed taints comes to be destroyed, and he attains a supreme security from bondage that he had not attained before. Stop here for a moment. So here, this layman is asking the Venerable Ananda, what is that one thing? If a monk cultivates, then it is possible for him to attain liberation. And you can see here, Venerable Ananda says, the first jhana. So, in the Buddha's teachings, you find the jhanas are of extreme importance, because the Buddha says very clearly that unless we have attained the jhanas, we are covered with the 5 hindrances. And when we are covered with the 5 hindrances, we cannot see clearly. And when you cannot see clearly, you cannot understand clearly. And when you cannot understand clearly, you cannot let go of the Mara's bed, all the sensual pleasures, all the worldly pleasures in the world. That's why the most important condition from here, actually he's trying to ask, what is the most important condition? And remember Ananda says the first jhana. Because out of so many conditions, he's just asking Venerable Ananda to name one. To name one means the most important one. Venerable Ananda says the first jhana. Again, with the stilling of applied and sustained thought, a monk enters and abides in the second jhana. This too is one thing proclaimed by the Blessed One, wherein if a monk abides diligent, ardent and resolute, he attains a supreme security from bondage that he had not attained before. Again, with the fading away as well of delight, a monk enters upon and abides in the third jhana. This too is one thing proclaimed by the Blessed One, wherein if a monk abides diligent, ardent and resolute, he attains a supreme security from bondage. Again, with the abandoning of pleasure and pain, a monk enters and abides in the fourth jhana. This too is one thing proclaimed by the Blessed One, wherein if a monk abides diligent, ardent and resolute, he attains a supreme security from bondage that he had not attained before. Again, a monk abides pervading one quarter with a mind imbued with loving kindness, likewise the second, likewise the third and fourth. And he abides pervading the all-encompassing world with a mind imbued with loving kindness, abundant, exalted, immeasurable, without hostility and without ill will. He considers this and understands it thus. This deliverance of here it says deliverance of mind through loving kindness. This deliverance of mind, Cheto Vimutti, you can say it's also liberation by mind. Liberation of mind of loving kindness, or radiation of loving kindness by the mind. So let's use liberation by mind of loving kindness. Is conditioned and volitionally produced. But whatever is conditioned and volitionally produced is impermanent, subject to cessation. Standing upon that, he attains the destruction of the taints. This too is one thing proclaimed by the Blessed One, wherein if a monk abides diligent, ardent and resolute, he attains the supreme security from bondage. Again, the monk abides pervading one quarter with a mind imbued with compassion, likewise the second quarter, third and fourth quarter. He considers and understands it thus. This deliverance by mind of compassion is conditioned and volitionally produced. This too is one thing proclaimed by the Blessed One, wherein if a monk abides diligent, ardent and resolute, he attains a supreme security from bondage that he had not attained before. Again, a monk abides pervading one quarter with a mind imbued with joy. This too is one thing proclaimed by the Blessed One, wherein if a monk abides diligent, ardent and resolute, he attains the supreme security from bondage. Again, a monk abides pervading the four quarters with equanimity. He considers it does. This deliverance by mind of equanimity is conditioned, and from that he attains the destruction of the taints. This too is one thing proclaimed by the Blessed One. Again, with the complete surmounting of perceptions of form, with the disappearance of perceptions of sensory impact, etc., a monk attains and abides in the base of infinite space. This too is one thing proclaimed by the Blessed One, wherein if a monk abides diligent, ardent and resolute, he attains a supreme security from bondage that he had not attained before. Again, by completely surmounting the base of infinite space, a monk enters in and abides in the base of infinite consciousness. This too is one thing proclaimed by the Blessed One, wherein if a monk abides diligent, ardent and resolute, he attains a supreme security from bondage. Again, by completely surmounting the base of infinite consciousness, where there is nothing, a monk enters and abides in the base of nothingness. This too is one thing proclaimed by the Blessed One, Arahant Sammasambuddha, wherein if a monk abides diligent, ardent and resolute, his unliberated mind comes to be liberated, his undestroyed taints comes to be destroyed. When Venerable Ananda had spoken, the householder Dasama of Atthakanagara said to him, Venerable Ananda, just as if a man seeking one entrance to a hidden treasure came all at once upon 11 entrances to a hidden treasure, so too, while I was seeking one door to the deathless, I have come all at once to hear of 11 doors to the deathless. Just as if a man had a house with 11 doors, and when that house caught on fire, he could flee to safety by any one of these 11 doors. So I can flee to safety by any one of these 11 doors to the deathless. Venerable Sir, these sectarians will even seek a teacher's fee for their teachers. Why shouldn't I make an offering to the Venerable Ananda? Then the householder Dasama of Atthakanagara assembled the Sangha of monks from Pataliputta and Vesali, and with his own hands he served and satisfied them with various kinds of good food. He presented a pair of cloths to each monk, and he presented a triple robe to the Venerable Ananda, and he had a dwelling worth 500 kahapana built for the Venerable Ananda. That's the end of the sutta. You notice here, Venerable Ananda, when asked what is needed to attain liberation, he mentions 11 states of samadhi. This again stresses the point in the suttas that samadhi, concentration, attaining one-pointedness of mind is absolutely necessary for liberation. Also, you see this, remember Ananda came up to this base of nothingness. He did not include the base of neither perception nor non-perception. Some other suttas, I think they include the base of neither perception or non-perception, and also beyond that, cessation of perception and feeling. All this can lead to liberation. So this is a very important sutta in the sense that it shows very clearly that the very important condition for liberation is the various stages of samadhi, concentration. So we stop here for tonight.
To ask a question on the sixth soul. This question was asked by someone to Dr. Leon.
We consider one by one. Say, for example, there is a form that comes before your eyes, and your eyes are in good condition, then seeing consciousness arises. And then when there is contact of the tree, then we see. But we like to think in terms of in and out. But why should there be an in and out? Because everything is in the mind. The mind, because of karma, past life karma, certain forms appear before the eye. For example, if a person's karma is very good, then beautiful forms appear before the eye. This is all conjured by the mind. And we seem to think, we seem to see the forms as outside of us. But according to quantum physics, everything that appears outside is a projection of inside. So it only appears outside, but it is the mind that is creating this show, what they call Maya in Hinduism, that there is this world. So it appears like the outside. But for example, like you consider like when we are dreaming at night, and then we see ourselves in that dream. Is it outside of us? It's not outside of us. It's inside our mind. The dream is inside our mind. So similarly, right now, even though the world appears outside, it is all a play of the mind. Inside and outside is just the mind deluding us. It's because the mind deludes us that we see ourselves in the world, and we see the world seems to be outside our body. But the whole thing, the whole world, is all inside our consciousness. Just consciousness creating this play of life. So, in that sense, actually, there is no inside and outside. It just appears like that. But even if you have one-pointedness of mind, if you don't understand the Dhamma, also you will not understand everything is in the mind. Indian holy man, he said, the ordinary person sees himself in the world, enlightened person sees the world in himself. The whole world is inside of him. The Vinaya says they are not allowed to stay in the same place, in the sense of some people interpret as under the same roof. So if it's a different roof, technically it is okay, but in practice it is not okay, because if you among and a lay person stay together. For example, when we started, a lot of the time I was alone in this monastery. So if another lay woman comes and wants to stay, even in another kuti, it's not proper because people will see and people will start to think and gossip. That's one thing. Secondly, if the monk does not have is not in good control of himself, then he may break the precept. Actually, that's why, especially for a new monk, the Buddha said generally new monk should, especially during the vasa, stay in a place with other monks for some more senior monks to guide him. But the Buddha gave exceptions, like if a monk is old and he thinks he does not have much time left and he wants to strive, then he can stay alone, but not with another woman. Yes, if he can see the danger there, and then he should ask them to tell the lady to move away. But problem is, new monk may not see danger.
I also asked my Bali, but we also get off then there's one Buddha disciple, then this disciple always run between
Layman or monk?
Then his fellow monk but somehow the Buddha said that they have reached certain level. Why is it so?
You must have read it from a Mahayana story, not a true story. Not possible during the Buddha's time.
It's one of the guy who actually drink a lot and then he become a Sotapanna. And then probably because Buddha say that because he has been listening to the Dhamma for a very long time, that's why when he passed away he becomes
Oh, there is it might be that he did not drink a lot. If he drank a lot, he would not be in control of his mind. So possibly there are a lot of lay Buddhists, especially like Westerners, they like to drink a bit of wine with their dinner or something. So if you don't drink too much, you are in control of your mind. But if you are not in control of your mind, it's not possible to become an Arya.
On the same point, you just mentioned, when you have some wine with dinner, even though you may take a glass of tea, you are not intoxicated. But when you meditate, somehow it's different. So you as a lay person, you want to keep the precepts. If you are drinking but you are not intoxicated, are you actually breaking the precepts? Because it's
Yes, but you see, it depends on how well you want to keep your precept. If you are earnest about keeping your precept, then you know there is such a precept, then you won't want to drink. Unless it is necessary. For example, some people, they are in the sales line. They have to entertain customers, have to bring out customer at night for dinner and all that. Then they find it difficult to refuse to drink at all. In that case, But even then, knowing that there is such a precept, they won't take hard liquor. They might take shandy or beer or something instead of whiskey on the rocks or something. So it's up to individual. That's why these precepts, it's not like commandments. Thou shalt not drink. We are not like that. Our training precepts is we undertake to train ourselves to abstain from taking intoxicants. So Buddhism is a very, not so extremist religion. Buddhism is very lax. Up to you to practice at your own pace. Do what you can. If you understand more of the Dhamma, then you are more strict with yourself. If you understand less of the Dhamma, you think cincai boleh lah.
Tonight, Buddha ended up with good food for monks.
With what? Yeah.
And devotees like to give good food to the monks. Is it not spoiling us as monks?
I think whether you get good food or not is your karma. If your karma is no good, even you wish for good food also you won't get. So just let karma take its course lah. Let karma take its course. Don't fight. Yeah. The Buddha's attitude is don't greed for it. Don't look for it. Just accept whatever comes. Good or bad, you just take it with an unmoving mind.
Buddha also says that either Atthakanagara or a person who learns to do can see or know where a person is reborn or what is achievement is. Does that mean that Arahant can also pronounce for another person that he is a bad
But then, not all arahants can do that. Only those with great psychic power, like Venerable Anuruddha or Venerable Mahamoggallana, where they can see heaven and hell and all this. Otherwise, even Venerable Sariputta, the greatest wisdom, he cannot see.
In that context, that Buddha announced living being that is alive,
Generally, the Buddha will not say when a person is alive what level he is, especially if he's an Arya. The Buddha will not say, because the Buddha, in the suttas we find, and the Vinaya, that the Buddha doesn't want the disciples to be complacent. So if they think they're already Arya, then they think no need to strive anymore. I'm on the according to the Vinaya, it's not proper. Not proper for a monk because in the monk's Vinaya there was this precept against talking of a monk's attainment actually came about because there was a famine and the monks were not getting enough to eat. So this group of a few monks, they thought up this idea. Why don't I praise you as an arahant? You praise me as an arahant. And then when the lay people get to know that we are all arahants, then they will give us a lot of good food. So this is what they did. So the lay people gave them a lot of good food. Now even the lay people didn't have enough to eat, also will give it to them. Now. So after that the Buddha. So from here you can see actually it's not allowed now. Not only to talk about your own attainment, even to talk of your fellow monks' attainment also is not allowed. Okay, shall we end here?